The Earthling is a superhuman. The DNA of the Earthling was so phenomenal in antiquity that they were the supreme being of all beings. There was a super world here, created by super beings. The Lemurians and Atlanteans didn't come here and continue to incarnate because they thought, hey, let's make Earth great again. They incarnated here because Earth was a great place to be. All this has been erased from our minds and from our DNA. All beings in the galaxy remember every detail of their past lives. We don't. Why is that? Because it's been erased and any written record of it is sitting under the Vatican under lock and key. The rest is on the pyramids, but nobody can read the glyphs. I was clued into the fact that when our vibration rises enough, some will be able to do it telepathically. It takes a higher vibration and telepathy to do it, and it also takes patience because each glyph is its own story. They're not words. I think they're kind of like a vibration, each has a frequency and that has to be interpreted. The people you see as Earthlings now are disempowered shadows of their former glorious selves. What we're seeing as an Earthling is a pathetic waif compared to who they were millennia ago. ETS had contributed the very best of their DNA to the human form to create a super being. And they lived as super beings on what was a fifth-dimensional planet before it dropped in vibration to 3D. They were gods, gods in physical form. And look at them now. I'm sure tears have been shed because I feel like it. This is what the ETS are attempting to do now, to restore humanity on Earth to its birthright, to the kings and queens of the race that they originally were. I know Ivo is committed for 1,000 years, so I doubt this will happen overnight. All of our memories have been wiped away. Our ancient civilizations lie at the bottom of the ocean and in Antarctica, and we can't access them. Can you imagine if this was accepted by the general public? What an outrage they'd feel and how they would begin to take their power back. This is why the dark fears the light worker, because we access those who can tell us, and I just did. So pass it on. People of Earth need to know who they really are and how they've been tricked. Me, Ivo, this is a travesty. I was told this last night by a benevolent being, who filled me into the reason that people don't remember their past. It's been erased from our DNA by the toxic environment we live in, by vaccines and many other things that continue to destroy our DNA. Ivo, and you have the DNA supplanted from the negative races who would wish to be your commanders. There is not a person on Earth who does not have reptilian or Anunnaki DNA. You all carry it to some degree or another. And this is the DNA that must be eradicated within your systems. You are doing this by doing your shadow work because this DNA upholds the shadow. Me, so then what does it turn to? Ivo, it allows the love of your light being to access that sector of your mind and to repattern it. Me, So that means that the spiritual process will change in the future once we eradicate this negative DNA? Ivo, yes, it will, and yes, this is a travesty. However, the Anunnaki/Archons are not totally to blame. As Akon had said in Beyond the Light Barrier, you have a variable sun that goes through high and low periods. As your people are so dependent on the sun for energy, and ask any Canadian who lives through their sunless winters, they will agree with me wholeheartedly. Me, I do. I'm a wreck without sunshine. Ivo, yes, your sun is part of the problem. It is a variable star which causes highs and lows within your development as a species. Ultimately, the Earthling would be welcome to rehabilitate within the galaxy, but only after complete benevolence has been achieved. We do not need a warring species out in the galaxy. We already have a few, and they are also not welcome to live among us. Me, Ivo, I've seen lower dimensional beings on planets that are less materially developed than Earth is. They lived in huts and wore simple clothes. But we weren't those beings, were we? We were like gods, he told me. Ivo, yes, when you have the best DNA of all the human species, who are already created in the image of the Prime Creator, then how could you not be a god? You were a species to behold. Your dress was opulent. What you do today with your emphasis on dressing up, are the last vestiges of this opulent style. And the plan is to restore you to your birthright. All 12 strands of DNA will be activated and this benevolent DNA will be restored. You hold the history of the galaxy within you already, but your own is missing, alas. Without your own history first, all else lies dormant within your DNA. Your manipulators knew this and worked to defile you into the poor creatures you are now unaware of who you are, not understanding that you are a master, and worst, accepting of yourselves as marauding, negative beings of hatred. That is the basic earthling now replete with the DNA of your negative controllers. Me, he also said that what we think of as extinct species of human, like the Neanderthals and the other skulls Homo erectus, etc., are not humans but a breed of ape/monkey that was closer to human. But not a human. Ivo, that is correct. You have had no such process of evolution on your planet. These are not humans. Because of the cycles of your sun, your people have gone through periods of destruction and rebirth. Your sun does not entirely support your growth in the long term, and for that reason we can see you leaving the planet and moving out to better suited planets with better suns, as we did before you. But the Earthling was always a master being. Never before has it come so close to destruction as it has now. Me, so what purpose did the negative controllers, the Archons, have in coming to Earth to destroy the people? Ivo, they are parasites. Because they are of such a low vibration, they require a food source, and that food is energy. So it was easier for them to overtake your planet after such a cycle when the Terran was at a low point in their sun cycle and rebuilding. They could not fight them off, and as you know, the controllers' techniques are so manipulative and so clever, it takes quite a lot to be able to detect them. Me, it takes not being like them to detect them. To the extent that anyone on this planet believes in what they're doing is the extent they'll be fooled by them. So the perfect ploy, recreate a being in your own image and they'll follow you like a rat to the piper. Ivo, yes. Your world will thrive again. You will also be working on technology to produce solar energy when the sun is at a low point in her cycle. You are already working on technology to replace the sun. You had such a device already. Many will prefer a natural life and will leave, but your planet will persevere and this race will continue. Me, I just want to say, Ivo, that I don't recognize myself as an Earthling anymore. I identify with being vegan, so when you say your planet and your people, you're not speaking of me. Part of the process of being a light worker, as we've been discussing, is preparing to go home, and identifying yourself as an Earthling rather than a being of your own consciousness is a huge stumbling block. You have to identify with your race again. Ivo, as we said, we do not want warring Earthlings out in the galaxy, and for that reason, the light worker must make the switch as well. Because to identify yourself as a benevolent vegan rather than a warring, aggressive Earthling is important to being able to go home. Me, yes. Thank you for this, Ivo. It was just weighing heavily on my heart this morning when I woke up. It had to be said. Ivo, that is your life's work and you follow your heart, my love. Me, kiss kiss.